What is going on, guys? It is Tokusin here with a new video. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded. I have no consistency, so let's hope that it starts today. But today I really wanted to just talk about a character in Revice that really bothers me. I don't know about everybody else, and I don't know everybody else's opinion on him, but he just strikes a nerve with me, and I just wanted a space to actually get the time to talk about him. So, the character that we are talking about today is Hikaru Ushijima? Hikaru Ushijima? I think that's his name. I'm just gonna say Hikaru. Hikaru is the first Kamen Rider Over Demons introduced in Kamen Rider Revice. I'd say around midway through the show. I can't specifically remember the episode, but it'll be somewhere on the screen. Hikaru starts off in the beginning of the series, from what I remember, as a part of this family that would show up to the Igarashi spa. And at the Igarashi spa, they were kind of I wouldn't say regulars, actually. I feel like they were new when they were first introduced, and they would slowly start building their influence throughout the show. They'd show up at places where the Igarashi family was. Other than that, Hikaru was actually one of Sakura, who is Iki's sister, if you haven't watched the show, the main writer's sister. He's one of Sakura's classmates in her karate class, and they kind of talk, they grow a little bit of a bond here and there. They do converse, they do talk to each other every once in a while. We do see interactions with them, and we get the vibe that, they're good friends. I wouldn't say good friends, but, they're cool acquaintances, and they're getting to know each other over time. Throughout the show, we see these three characters, Hikaru, the father, and the mother. I just can't remember their name right now. Showing up throughout the show. They consistently just pull up every once in a while. You'll see them in the same place as the Igarashis, and later on in the show, as it's developing, I wouldn't actually say all that later on. It's actually pretty early. After Sakura receives the Libera driver and becomes Kamen Rider Jan, everybody wonders, in a sense, where the belt came from, because it's revealed that George isn't the one who made it. He's the one who's made the Revice driver, the two-side driver, and he made the Demons driver. See back then. And they were trying to figure out who made it, who made the belt, and it's slowly revealed after a while that it's an organization called Weekend. And the reason Weekend made that belt was because they wanted to recruit Sakura into their organization. Their organization isn't large, but it is Hikaru, the mother, the father, and George's dad. I think it's Masumi. Masumi is the creator of Weekend, and he essentially made it for the same reasons that Revice writers are even around, in a sense, to stop Geef from, taking over the world, and to stop that plan from initiating in the first place. They're able to recruit Sakura, who is, more than willing to be independent on her own. Not independent in the sense, she's independent, as she's Weekend's only rider for the time being. That's Weekend's introduction, and we get it's very abridged, it's very butchered. I watched Revice while it aired, and I haven't rewatched it since, but when I do, trust and believe, we're definitely going more in depth about that season, because I feel like that is one of the more, for me at least, it's one of the more polarizing seasons of Kamen Rider, because I feel like it has good aspects of a season in terms of how it writes its characters and the development that the characters go on, but to that same extent, I feel like the plot does fall a little flat sometimes, but we will save that for when I do go more in depth about Revice. But today's topic is Hikaru. Why did he become a Kamen Rider? Why did Hikaru have to become a Kamen Rider? I mean, I don't want the misconception of the fact that I dislike him is because he's a Kamen Rider, he comes out of nowhere, because we do get introduced to him and he does show up. We do know of his character, we do know little hints and bits about him, but it's this weird, thing where I'm a Hiromi fan. My favorite Kamen Rider in that in that season is Hiromi, and he's one of my favorite writers, just period. I was salty. I was salty about how Revice chose to handle Hiromi's character in a sense, and he left. But I was hoping that he came back, and then we got Dear Gaga, which was like confirming my suspicions that Hiromi would return in some way, shape, or form. The thing is, the amount of time that I feel like it took for Hiromi to come back was just like, it was just weird. Like, I felt like it took a while, and I know they wanted us to wait a little bit for that return. That return did play into the plot in like, not in huge ways, but it did play into the plot. It's just the way it played out. Hikaru essentially, like, had this desire to protect Sakura. I can't exactly remember why. I feel like it's because he started to realize the danger that she was in terms of being a writer, and he wanted to protect her. But it just bothered me because it was like, at this point of the series, Sakura has been a writer for a good chunk. You're aware of the fact that Sakura has been a writer for a good chunk of the series, so why now are you realizing that? He goes to George and he's like, hey, I want to help. Can I, like, give me the belt? So George reconstructs the Demon's Driver to run more off of the over system, which essentially uses a person's like demonic power. Like, I think it's like a person's like inner demon or whatever the fuck. I can't exactly remember, but it uses a person's own like whatever the fuck to transform, to like allow them to transform without the harsh side effects. Because if you don't know, the Demon's Driver actually had an issue where Vale, the demon Iki's father, he was sealed away inside of the Demon's Driver, and when it was being used by Hiromi, he was essentially sucking the life force away from him. After that happened, the Demon's Driver ends up getting in the hands of a villain named Oteka, who I will definitely make a video about because he's one of my favorite villains and writer and one of my favorite characters in that show. But Oteka gets the Demon's Driver and he becomes the current Kamen Rider Demons for a little bit. And Vale allows him to use more of the power of the Demon's Driver because he recognizes him as more of a demon because Oteka is part of the Dead Man's and he had a contract and blah 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 blah. After Oteka loses to Holy Live in a fight, Vale leaves him due to the fact that Oteka is, you know, a little out of control and like not in control of like himself or like his, I wouldn't say like his emotions, but like he's starting to get a little unhinged with the way that his behavior is because he's taking a lot of L's, he's losing, he's thinking he's supposed to be super strong, he just took a huge loss. And Vale's free, and the Demon's Driver, which was left over, was picked up by George, who ended up working on it. So that's how we get to the point of the Demon's Driver now being able to like be used by people in a regular sense without them like having their body deteriorate at a rapid rate every time it's being used. And he gives the belt to Hikaru. That bothered me. And the reason it got me so upset was I felt like that belt was it was sort of important in a sense. Like, the people who it has been given to has played such a significant role in the plot of the show, or how like things in the show are developed, or giving us like explanations to certain things that are going on, such as like, you know, us learning about Vale more and the demon inhabiting, like him being the demon inhabiting the Demon's Driver and making Hiromi old through Hiromi having it. The fact that the Demon's Driver is restricted through Vale's power, and that's how Oteka is able to become way stronger using it and able to beat like Revi and stuff like that. Hikaru got the belt and he transformed into Kamen Rider Over Demons, which is fine because in the show Over Demons is its own like separate writer. I really wanted that to be like an upgrade, bro. I really wanted it to be like, I was imagining like Hiromi pulling up, like he's stoic, he's heroic, you know. I'm imagining him pulling up and just telling Hikaru like, hey, you shouldn't be using this belt. He has no information of like the belt's reconstruction, the fact that it's been tuned, the fact that it's been fixed. He pulls up, he takes the belt, and he does some Hiromi shit. He transforms into demons, and he transforms into Over Demons using the Kawagata stamp, and he does his thing. He tears up. When I finished the show and I saw how things played out in that sense, I understand why things didn't go that way. Like, yes, Hiromi is still stoic and he's still willing to transform into a Kamen Rider, but it's not for the exact same reasons as like he used to. It's not like he's laying his life down anymore, type thing. So that happens, and for a while we just have Hikaru as Over Demons, and I feel like he's just such a bland Kamen Rider. Like, he becomes Over Demons, and now it's like it's him and Sakura, and then Hana, who was also a part of the Dead Man's. Her name was Aguilera, but now she is Hana-chan. She even becomes a part of Weekend. Go Tamaki, who was Julio in the Dead Man's, also becomes a part of Weekend, and those are two characters who I feel like could have deserved being a writer way more, due to the fact that we've known more about them. We've seen their development a lot more. I was hoping Go would have, like, if anybody should have been Over Demons, like, from the jump. Like, I feel like there shouldn't, like, yes, Go becomes Over Demons after, you know, Hikaru's, like, fake mom and dad die, and fucking goes all out against Takeshi. And Go does get the belt and Over Demons, like, passed on to him, but it's only because Hikaru goes all out against Takeshi, and that puts him in a state where he's too injured to continue fighting to be a Kamen Rider, and that's how Go ends up becoming Over Demons, which bothered me. He was going to be a Kamen Rider before, but that moment was actually made for Aguilera, which I think worked, and she was a solid writer. It made sense. Her story reaching that point worked for me. I don't know what it is, man. Hikaru's just bland. He's just boring. He wasn't doing enough for me. I can't say I remember anything too key about him outside of the fact that he had that, like, squabble with Akeshi, and, like, at a certain point it really became like him versus Akeshi, and that was like their back and forth. Like, not a back and forth thing, because it wasn't even like that long. Like, I feel like that wasn't even like that long of a plot point. Like, I'll rewatch, revise, and I'll see, but I feel like that it wasn't even that long of a thing that happened. Like, I'd say it was the normal amount of, like, episodes of plot of, like, someone going against somebody else, and writer goes up to, like, a specific, like, one-on-one, like, big moment. And Hikaru does his thing, you know, he puts the work on him, and it makes me glad that they were able to pass on Hikaru's, they gave it to a character who actually deserved to be a Kamen Rider, and is still the Kamen Rider over Demons, because I feel like Go just worked better. Like, we've seen him grow. The first one to convert back to being a normal human, his contract got destroyed, and he was like, everything was all good, everything was all cool for him. He picked up a job at the spa. He was just like working his way back into being normal society. He's even one of the people who was trying to push Hannah into being, like, normal again, and that was such a, like, intriguing thing, because he showed, like, he said that, like, he had nothing else to care for but her, and, like, you see that that's his motivation. We've known that is his motivation since the beginning, and we see it grow, we see it continue to develop, and we see him get what he's rewarded for. Like, the thing with Hikaru's, like, reward, I don't say everybody needs to be rewarded. Like, you don't have to get your belt on a silver platter in order to be, like, a good Kamen Rider, in my opinion. I feel like you can just be you can just have your powers, or somebody just gives you your powers, and that's cool. But it's the character behind it that I think that does matter, and Hikaru's character is non-existent. He's bland. He's just not there. There's nothing to really remember him by, except the fact that he is the first Over Demons. He has beef with Akeshi. He's in Weekend. His fake parents died, and he cares about Sakura. Like, it's not enough for, like, me to genuinely give him, like, a reasonable, it's valid. Like, it's a valid thing, especially when it comes to, like, I'm a huge Hiromi fan, and the fact that I'm seeing, like, this belt that put Hiromi through so much turmoil given to a character who has no character, and it's just his belt now, and that's his thing. And, like, yeah, the Demon's Driver does get mass produced, I know, and that's, like, a thing, but it's like, at that point, it was just a different thing. It was very significant to me, at least. But yeah, I wanted to ramble. I just wanted to ramble for a little bit, see what this video goes. Let me know some writers that you don't like, and maybe I'll talk about them in a future video if I like them or don't like them. Maybe we continue this as a series. Kamen Riders that we just don't like. But yep. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are at this point in the video, that means you have reached the end, and I appreciate you. It is your boy Toku Sim signing off. Later.